Right now on KGW News at noon, Portland Public Schools proposing a $40 million budget cut for some upcoming school year. What programs will have to go and why the district is making a steep cut. Plus,
however scientifically sound it might be in theory, it was stoking hostility and mistrust and a division among us that's exactly the opposite of what we need to overcome the wildfire crisis.
Oregon Senate reaching consensus on getting rid of the wildfire hazard map. Why some say it's the opposite of what needs to combat wildfire. And later, it's where ideas meet the community. TEDx Portland returns this Saturday. We'll have a rundown of the speakers and performances, as well as how you can watch it live on our streaming app. Your News at Noon starts right now. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm China Green. We'll start with the Portland Public Schools' new budget proposal for the upcoming school year that includes $40 million in cuts. The district would cut at least 155 positions within school and 85 central administration roles. It also plans to sunset the IB program in the elementary level and blend some of the 4th and 5th grade classrooms together. Some dual language programs in middle schools will also be reduced.
And while the message may be familiar, the weight of this moment has not been lessened. We are facing a $40 million deficit, and we shared our beginning steps to address that. We are in our 3rd consecutive year of a structural deficit.
The district says this is a preliminary proposed budget and could be revised after they gather more information. Now to the controversial wildfire hazard map of Oregon. With bipartisan support, the Oregon Senate voted to repeal it. Here's a look at the map in question here. It shows where wildfire risk is high. That's the areas in orange you see there. The purple and the green areas are where risk is supposedly lower. The map was initially introduced in 2021 after the Labor Day wildfires that burned over 1 million acres across the state. Depending on risk level, property owners are subject to more regulations around defensible space and stricter building codes. One of the main concerns here is how the map has impacted insurance rates, with some saying they felt that the designations were inaccurate.
We finally have a bipartisan, bicameral solution to the base legislation that created the issue for over 106,000 Oregonians.
However scientifically sound it might be in theory, it was stoking hostility and mistrust and a division among us that's exactly the opposite of what we need to overcome the wildfire crisis.
The bill now heads to the Oregon House. If passed, the legislation will send it to the governor's desk. All right, we're taking a live look at Portland's living room. Mayor Keith Wilson is hosting a press conference to celebrate upcoming spring and summer events in Portland. He's joined by representatives from the Rose Festival, 8 Seconds Rodeo, Waterfront Blues Festival, and more. And we'll have a recap of this coming up later in our evening newscast and on our website, kgw.com. And as you just saw, sunny day in the city at Pioneer Courthouse Square. So now let's take a look at weather with Rod Hill. And I say anywhere the sun is, you can find Rod Hill.
Hey China, I've got to share with you the device I use to hear you. I have a feeling the battery is dead because it's going in and out. So I wasn't able to pick up your comments, but I am here on the KGW weather deck sponsored by Rick's Custom Fencing and Decking. What a beautiful day. A little bit of a northeast breeze up here, but literally I cannot see a cloud in the sky. And let's go to the satellite picture. The story of today for the remainder of your afternoon is just really beautiful weather expected with clear skies most areas. A little bit of cloudiness down toward the California borders and around Klamath Falls, and literally that is about it. Here's the way it looks from the Chinook Winds Casino Resort camera in Lincoln City. Just a beautiful afternoon there as well, and temperatures warming up nicely. 60-degree numbers are expected this afternoon. Right now it's 55, and a clear sky view from the Oregon Veterans Home camera out in the Dalles. You can see Mount Hood on the left, and the gorge warming up nicely, 62. Here's that not a cloud in the sky view from our Rose City camera. We are at 63, so for the first time since last Friday, we will warm up into the 70s. I think this afternoon you will notice it being warmer out. 73 at 4 o'clock, still clear, and 66 at 8 p.m. There are significant changes to our rain chance overall for showers and maybe some thunderstorms starting Friday into Saturday. and we'll get into that in my complete forecast coming up. For now, live from the weather deck, back to you.
Thank you, Rod. Developing news right now. According to Bloomberg report, Intel plans to cut 20% of its workforce, citing an anonymous source familiar with the chip maker's plans. Now, it's not clear right now how many local employees will be impacted in Portland. The report says that the layoffs are part of a broader strategy to refocus on an engineering-driven structure. We've reached out to Intel for comment, but we have not heard back. The latest results from Washington's special election showed 2 school levies in Clark County are on track to fail. So let's start off with Battleground Public Schools, where a levy could take place of the education and operations levy that expires at the end of this year. It aims to fund student educational programs and improve student safety. Of the ballot counted so far, 52% have voted no. As for Hawkinson, nearly 56% of people have voted no. So a wider margin than Battleground. But keep in mind here, this is a levy that aims for school safety improvements. And also a reminder, these are preliminary and early results and subject to change. Election results won't be certified until May 2nd. In Gresham, a couple grieving the loss of a 17-year-old son are now furious. They say the young man allegedly responsible for his death is about to get off easy. Alma McCarty has a story of the deadly street takeover that upended their lives.
On a foggy November night,
we turned the corner on Marine Drive. We just saw all the lights, a mile down.
Cameron Lively's parents approached the crime scene in North Portland.
Just in the blink of an eye, he was gone.
Leslie and Chris Lively's 17-year-old son dead at the scene, the passenger in his friend's car during a street takeover.
Cameron laying in the intersection under the lights, and I just remember saying, "Is that my baby? Is that my baby?"
His death just 2 hours after they'd celebrated Chris's birthday as a family.
Such a big heart.
He's so kind, so caring, such a good kid, and he got caught up, being a kid.
Months after his funeral, reminders of Cameron are everywhere. Pictures line the walls. His bedroom sits mostly untouched, though more memories crowd the shelves.
A huge devastation loss to our family.
But Cameron's parents fear justice won't be served, that the suspect who was driving the car, 19-year-old Juan Medina Dominguez, won't face the appropriate consequences.
Well, you've taken somebody's life, and you've got some consequences you need to account for. Cameron's not innocent. He was in that car. He was being a stupid 17-year-old kid, and he paid the ultimate sacrifice, so now it's your time.
The Multnomah County District Attorney confirming that Medina Dominguez will take a plea deal this week. In court documents, the suspect wrote earlier this month, "I negligently caused the death of Cameron Lively, driving in a manner likely to endanger people and property while participating in a street takeover."
I'd rather fight. I would rather go down fighting than just settle on injustice.
The Lively's wish this case would have gone to trial, to in part send a message to other teenagers street racing on Marine Drive.
Did they do it on the same place Cameron died?
Yeah.
It's the same, and they don't care.
But also this isn't going to stop them from occurring. So what can we do to make that stop?
Alma McCarty, KGW News.
We'll find out the exact details of the deal in court tomorrow. According to the court documents, Medina Dominguez will be looking at 3 years or so in prison, followed by 5 years probation. Here's a look at some national headlines this afternoon. Thousands of mourners lined up at the Vatican to pay their respects to the late Pope Francis. He was moved to St. Peter's Basilica for a public viewing ahead of this weekend's funeral. The cardinals are arriving in the Vatican to start selecting Francis' successor. The earliest time that they can convene would be May 6th. The families of the Uvalde school shooting victims have reached a settlement with the city. The details of the agreement have not been released. The several lawsuits were filed in the aftermath of the Texas mass shooting, seeking accountability for the law enforcement response at the school. 19 fourth graders and 2 teachers were killed when an 18-year-old gunman entered the school and opened fire in 2022. We are just 2 weeks out from the start of the Real ID enforcement at airports and government facilities. Starting May 7th, you will need a Real ID compliant driver's license to board domestic flights if you don't have a passport or military ID. If you don't have any of those, you could face significant delays at security. And those are a look at your national headlines.